chat now to consumer expert Moeskfieka Botha. Moeskfieka, thank you very much for availing yourself this afternoon. It would appear by all indications that 2023 looks no different.
Thank you for having me, Dudu. I would even go as far as saying that the first quarter of 2023 could actually be worse than 2022, as we are expecting prices, specifically food prices, to peak within the first quarter of 2023. One would, however, think that the consumer would be thinking, oh, but we've had a decrease in the price of petrol at the beginning of January 2023, and that should spill over into a decrease in our food prices. 2022, however, has shown us that is not the case. Any decrease in fuel prices does not necessarily equate to a decrease in food prices.
What drives inflation?
You know what drives inflation right now is everything else. We're looking at the rand-dollar exchange rate. We're looking at things outside of our control within South Africa. But what is currently important to the consumer is that we're looking at a food basket, Dudu, of 4,800 Rand a month, where most South African consumers are earning a minimum wage of 4,000 Rand per month. We're looking at a food basket of 4,800 Rand per month of 44 basic nutritional items, when we've got 13.8 million South Africans currently living below the poverty line of 663 Rand per month, and 30.4 million South Africans, and that's more than half of the population, are currently living below the upper bound poverty line of 1,417. So there is the biggest disconnect for me. The biggest disconnect is that we're speaking about a basket of nutritional foods at 4,800 Rand per month approximately, but most South Africans do not even earn that. And again, it comes back down to the huge economic inequality that South Africans across the board are experiencing. And that is something that we are going to have to address. Food baskets at 4,800 Rand per month are not even on the horizon. It's not even something that many South Africans can think about. Right now, survival, not getting into the situation where malnutrition is part and parcel of everyday living, and absolutely not getting into the situation where people are literally dying of not having food to eat.
Moeskfieka, let's just take a look at this, right, and take a look at some of the prices of basics, some of the staples that you'll find in every South African household. So we're about to show our viewers the food price index, right? So here you've got maize meal, 30 kgs in December of 2021 was 244 Rand 71 cents. And then in November of 2022, it was 298 Rand 50 cents. If you take a look at, some people have to maybe cross off sugar, and then you take a look at sugar beans, 5 kg of that, 172 Rand, but in 2022 it was 169. Slight reprieve. Cooking oil, staple, 5 liters in 2021 would have cost you 138 Rand, and in November of 2022 would cost you 188 Rand 53 cents. We haven't even gotten to, the nutritional items like your fruits and vegetables, right, which are also up. I mean, onions have also gone up. In 2021 they would have been less, and there we go, 10 kgs of onions, that was 66 Rand 43 cents. And in 2022, it was 125 Rand. How do you make sense of that? An almost 99% increase.
Absolutely. And if you're looking at the basket of food items, which the study is based on, 25 of those items out of 40, 2 of them have decreased slightly by 1% and 5%, and then 2 of them have remained the same. But so you've got 40 items. Out of that basket of 40 items, 25 of those items have gone up by double digits. That's 25 items that have gone up by double digits. So it is really, really concerning that even our staple foods are becoming unaffordable. And again, if you're looking at what South Africans are having to spend their salaries on, you're looking at South Africans having to spend salaries on transport. because you have to go and get to work to earn your living. So transport is a huge cost. Electricity is a huge cost, and we are looking at increased tariffs in electricity soon. We're looking at the servicing of debt being another huge cost. Sadly, the debt has to be serviced because we find that most South Africans these days are actually having to resort to buying food on credit. Which then adds extra to the already rising food costs. So if you've taken out a loan to get you through the next couple of months, but you've got a 24% interest rate on that, or you've gone to a Mashanisa because you simply don't have any other way out, and you've got a 50% monthly interest rate on that, or you're using your credit card, those interest rates, those costs still have to be added to the rising costs of food. So I don't even think that we are looking at what the true rising cost of food is when looking at an overall basket like this.
What is the solution, Moeskfieka?
You know what, for those people who still have the luxury of making financial changes in their lives, I would suggest that we get to know exactly what our financial situation is. You know, stop keeping it in your head, stop thinking about it. Oh, it might be this. Get down to basics. Know how much your bond is costing you, how long you have to pay, what the interest rate is. Know exactly what the interest rates on all your debt is, and try and get rid of at least the debt with the highest interest rates first. As tedious and as boring as it may sound, we have to be drawing up budgets. We have to know exactly how much we can spend and then stick to that. Get to know the prices of the foodstuffs that you use. Also, don't go and buy things that are unnecessary, even if they are on sale. More importantly, we need to start comparing food prices. Most of us are trying to get back to where we were before COVID hit us. Some of us have managed to do that. Most of us have not. So we have to start saying, you know what, I'm not in the same position as I was. The idea of having to keep up with the Joneses is absolutely ludicrous, because the chances are that the Joneses are also struggling. We really need to get back to basics and make sure that we know and differentiate between what is a want and what is a need, what we need to be spending our money on. And we need to be able to say that there's nothing wrong in being in a tough financial situation right now. The struggle is real. We have to rein in our expenditure as much as we possibly can, get rid of our debt as quickly as we possibly can, and then try and have the most disposable income available to spend on necessities like food.
It has to get better. Thank you very much to consumer expert Moeskfieka Botha.